Good morning. Cold day for a run. It's like 9 degrees here with the wind chill. I don't know what that is in Celsius. Probably like negative 10 or 20. Always hard for me to think in terms of Celsius because so much of the year is below zero. Whereas in Fahrenheit, when it gets below zero, you really know it. Actually, you really know 9 degrees too. I had to watch my step. There's some ice here on the bike path. Oh, is it cold? Is it cold? Wonderful thing to be alive though. There's my problem with January right there. I need more of that orb, more sun. I just got off the phone with my brother Paul. So nice. It's actually one of the things I do to keep my seasonal affective disorder in check is try to keep in contact with family and friends. Maybe make contact with friends I haven't talked to in a bit. And making sure to keep a little bit of contact with family. So yeah, what is seasonal affective disorder? It's actually not a well-researched thing, though there are definitely doctors who talk a bit about it. There's not as much research on it as there are some other disorders like ADD, and it's not really understood as much as like ADD or anxiety, though it is connected to those, right? So definitely, if you get depression in December, January, February like I do, you get increased anxiety during those months specifically, maybe into March when sun just there isn't enough of it and you spend your work days indoors and you see dark to dark mostly. When you think a little bit less clearly, definitely I think less clearly now than I normally do. Have a rough time responding to people, rough time in social situations in these months. So it's interesting that one of the challenges is this desire to like go into a cave and not socialize, but that actually makes it worse, according to the doctors that I saw on YouTube talking about it. But we have to force ourselves, I guess, to be more social and hope that they're generous enough to forgive us our foibles from our unclear heads. Just taking it easy today. Nice easy jog in the 9-degree cold weather. Yeah, so I'm sure my students and definitely my family have noticed that I have seasonal affective disorder. The ones who are far more conscious than I was at their age even notice, like Dr. Shivak, what's up? You seem a little down, or did that get on your nerves more than usual? Those kind of things, right? And yeah, you know, that's a result of seasonal affective disorder. And from what I can see is, as with anything that's less research, there's probably a lot more people with it than is known. And it's more common, especially in these northern states like Pennsylvania where I live, where we have cold winters, where the sun is less in the sky. And even worse further north. If you get up to places like Alaska where it might be dark for months at a time, it's raging, right? Raging. So it hits in the school year, right? Right in the peak of when I have to be effective at work. And that's not necessarily a good thing, is it? Yeah, so I have one of those lamps. Ask a doctor before you use them, because obviously with any type of thing like that, if you're susceptible to like skin cancer or anything, you might want to use it less. So I actually, with my father having melanoma a few times, I limit my time with it. You know, try to get more on bad days and less on days when I'm feeling a little more up and may not need it as much. And then there's drugs I've tried, right? Like melatonin, vitamin D, but I don't know if it's an absorption problem. But yeah, I definitely don't seem to be affected as much by the pills. However, I can eat more food with vitamin D in it, right? This time of year. So that might be an idea for people, because obviously we get most of our vitamin D from the sun, and I think that might be connected to it. Yeah, and another aspect of it is just not sleeping well this time of year. So very light sleep, up multiple times through the night. That's a result of seasonal affective disorder too. Yeah, well, if you've noticed anything about seasonal affective disorder, or if you have it, yeah, leave a comment. Let me know. The final thing I do with it is I make sure to read Psalms, to write music to Psalms, because the Psalms are 3,000-year-old poetry and expression of so much of what we experience in words. It's funny that through all the translations from ancient Hebrew to Greek to modern Hebrew to Latin to whatever else it went through to get to modern English, right? They still speak to your soul. And so you'll see I'll put some Psalms on each morning. Not a sponsor, but I use a Hallow app, and there's a bishop on there that reads a psalm a day. Today he chose Psalm 92, which is one of the psalms in the shorter Christian prayer breviary I use when I am able. And he actually read Psalm 92, which is the psalm that spoke to me this morning, and then I create a little melody too. But whether you create melodies or not, an experience with these psalms help me process my emotions through SAD, seasonal affective disorder. Up, up, up. So another thing would be to go out of your way to try to empathize with other people this time of year. You may not be suffering, but you may be, right? And then when you're suffering from SAD, it's hard to empathize with other people. It's hard not to be shorter with them, to feel strong emotions. And there's nothing wrong with them, but you gotta try your best because they might be suffering too, right? So, I don't know. You don't want it to become something where you're horrible to each other, where you say things that you regret later saying. I don't know. I guess we need God's grace for any of this, right? We're all fallen, and without God's grace, we can't make it through. So we ought to pray for it. Well, out here running. There's the sunshine. Yay, brother, sun. Good morning. So, birds are cheering me on, cheering you on too. It's one of the reasons running is part of my practice to get through these hard months. Even if you have to run in the dark, it has some benefits. But obviously, like today, we have a day off for Dr. King Day. I could get some sunshine, which is going to help me. I wonder if art and music can help as well. I definitely write those songs, right, to help me get through it. But would even looking at landscape art help? I don't know. Some kind of beauty you can bring into your life to help to bring your spirits up and moving your body, even in this cold weather, right? The fact of running warms you up. So it's not quite the same as walking in this case, as walking. This weather would be too cold for me to walk. I would have to bundle up so much my arms would stick straight out. But for running, you generate your own heat. I'm actually a little bit too warm. But 9 degrees when I started. Might be up to 10, I don't know. Maybe 11 now that the sun's out. It's a wonderful thing. Brings your spirits up. Brings my spirits up a little bit. Trees.